If you are looking to buy a smartphone around 30,000 rupees, chances are you have already come across the Samsung Galaxy A27 and the Motorola Edge 70. Both are solid options on paper, but they couldn't be more different. Samsung is banking on its software experience, Galaxy AI features and long-term software updates, while Motorola is focusing on delivering better hardware with a slightly more powerful processor, a slimmer design, a brighter display and faster charging. So if you're confused between these two phones and wondering which one is actually worth your money, you have come to the right place. I have tested both them at our Digit Test Labs, compared everything from the display and cameras to gaming, benchmarks and battery life, and in this video, I'll help you decide which one deserves your money. But before I jump into it, if you are new here, I'm Siddharth Malhotra and you're watching Digit, where we bring you detailed, no-nonsense gadget reviews and comparisons. Let's start with the design because that's probably the biggest difference between these two phones. The Samsung Galaxy A27 follows Samsung's familiar design language. You get Gorilla Glass Victus Plus on both front and back with a polycarbonate frame in between. It is around 7.8 mm thick, weighs 200 grams and comes with an IP64 rating. Now compare that with the Motorola Edge 70. The moment you pick it up, you immediately notice how thin and light it is. At just 5.9 mm thick, and only 159 grams, it honestly feels like one of the lightest phones in this category. Motorola has also used an aluminum frame but with a vegan leather back. And durability is where Motorola surprises everyone. Along with Gorilla Glass 7i, you also get IP68, 69 and even military standard 810H certification. Of course, Samsung has the better Gorilla Glass Victus Plus, which is excellent, but Motorola simply offers a wider IP rating. Now let's move to the display. Samsung Galaxy A27 comes with a 6.7-inch Full HD Plus Super AMOLED panel with a 120Hz refresh rate. As expected from Samsung, colors look vibrant, blacks are deep, and watching movies or scrolling social media feels excellent. The H70 features a 6.7-inch AMOLED display with a slightly sharper 1.5K resolution and 120Hz refresh rate. The display also covers 100% of the sRGB color gamut and supports HDR10+. During our testing, the Galaxy A27 display reached around 1340 nits in high brightness mode, making outdoor visibility perfectly usable. But in the same test, Motorola managed to score around 2580 nits, which is almost double that of Samsung. Overall, both phones offer good displays, and indoors you can't go wrong with either. However, it is outdoors where the H70 gets the lead. Not that Samsung's display is dim, but the Motorola's display is simply much brighter. Now let's talk about performance. The Samsung Galaxy A27 runs on Qualcomm's Snapdragon 6 Gen 3 chipset, paired with up to 8GB of LPDDR5X RAM and 256GB of UFS 3.1 storage. On the other hand, the Motorola Edge70 is powered by the Snapdragon 7 Gen 4 chipset with the same 8GB of LPDDR5X RAM and 256GB of UFS 3.1 storage. When it comes to benchmarks, in Antutu, the Galaxy A27 scored around 8.84 lakhs. The Motorola Edge70 crosses 1.4 million mark. That's a huge difference. Moving to Geekbench, Samsung scores 964 in single core and 2878 in multi-core. Motorola scores 1334 in single core and 4248 in multi-core. Even in GPU performance, Motorola has the upper hand with a 3D Mark Wildlife Extreme test score of 7633. In the CPU throttling test, the Galaxy A27 maintained 90% of its peak performance, while the H70 maintained 88%, giving the Galaxy A27 a slight edge in sustained performance. Now, those were the numbers from synthetic benchmarks, but about real-world usage? Well, for daily tasks like browsing, social media, multitasking and streaming, both phones perform smoothly. The real difference comes when you start gaming on both devices. For instance, BGMI is supported at up to 60 FPS on the Galaxy A27. However, the Motorola Edge70 supports up to 120 FPS gameplay in BGMI and even up to 90 FPS on CODM mobile. But apart from hardcore gaming, Samsung does strike back when it comes to software support. The Galaxy A27 promises 6 years of software updates and 6 years of security patches, which is among the best in this segment. Motorola offers 3 Android updates and 4 years of security patches. Samsung also bundles useful Galaxy AI features like Gemini integration, Perplexity, Bixby and live transcription. Motorola counters with Moto AI, Smart Connect 2.0, Moto Secure and Family Spaces. But in terms of long-term software support, AI features and the whole software optimization, Samsung clearly edges out Motorola here. Next, let's talk about cameras. Samsung gives you a triple camera setup consisting of a 50 megapixel main camera with OIS, a 5 megapixel ultrawide and a 2 megapixel macro sensor, along with a 12 megapixel selfie camera. Motorola keeps things similar with a 50 megapixel primary camera, a 50 megapixel ultrawide camera and a massive 50 megapixel selfie camera. Now, in terms of the results, both phones take very different approaches. Starting with the daylight shots. The first thing you'll notice is that both phones have completely different color signs. Samsung leans towards a more natural look. The colors you see with your eyes are pretty much what you get in the final image. Nothing feels overly processed and the photos have a balanced, realistic look. Motorola, on the other hand, goes in the opposite direction. It boosts the saturation, increases the contrast, and makes images look a lot more vibrant. The photos instantly pop, especially on a phone screen, and they are the kind of shots that look ready to upload straight to Instagram without any editing. So honestly, there isn't a right or wrong winner here. It really comes down to the kind of color science you prefer. If you like natural looking photos, Samsung does a better job. But if you prefer punchier, more vibrant images, you'll probably like Motorola more. Moving to portraits, HD detection is a bit hit and miss on both devices, especially around hairs, so neither phone is perfect here. That's it. I personally preferred Motorola's portraits because the higher contrast and richer colors make photos look more eye-catching and social media ready straight out of the camera. For ultra-wide shots, Motorola is the clear winner. Its 50 megapixel ultra-wide sensor captures noticeably more detail, produces more accurate colors and retains much better sharpness across the frame than Samsung's 5 megapixel ultra-wide camera. Finally, coming to selfies, both phones are quite good and I don't think either of them will disappoint most users. But if I had to pick one, I would give Motorola Edge a slight edge. The selfies have more lively colors and a bit more punch, whereas Samsung selfies occasionally look slightly washed out, and I also noticed some inconsistency in color reproduction across different lighting conditions. Now let's discuss battery life. Both phones pack a 5000 mAh battery and you can expect to see a similar kind of endurance from both. However, when it comes to charging, the Motorola straight out dominates. Samsung supports 25-watt charging, which is fine, and it takes around 1.5 hours to fully charge from 0 to 100%. Motorola, on the other hand, supports 68-watt turbocharging and goes from 0 to 100% in roughly 50 minutes. Even better, Motorola includes the 68-watt charger in the retail box. Now the big question, which phone should you actually buy? If your priority is long-term software support, Samsung's One UI experience, Galaxy AI features, reliable everyday cameras, and especially a reliable brand name, then the Galaxy A27 remains a very safe choice. It's built for people who keep their phones for 4 or 5 years and value software consistency more than raw specifications. But if you want a phone with a lighter build, better gaming chops, faster charging and a charger in the box, you should pick the Motorola Edge. So which one will you choose? The Samsung Galaxy A27 or the Motorola Edge? Let us know in the comments. If you find this comparison helpful, don't forget to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next one.